Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Elisabetta, an Italian watercolor artist with a passion for art supplies. So we are continuing today our journey through quinacridone colors. The first pigment we are exploring is PR206, which is Quinacridone Maroon. Why are we starting with this pigment? Because it has been discontinued. So today we are swatching my stock of PR206, so you might be able to buy your favorite one before it goes out of stock. We have some European brands. We have Winsor and Newton. You see, I have bought a large tube before it goes out of stock of PR206 brown madder. Then we have Cotman, the student grade of Winsor and Newton, Schminke. Then we have this new English brand, which is M.Harding, a very good brand. We have Daniel Smith. We have another American brand, Core, which is not so easy to find here in Europe. And then we have Sennelier, which uses it in a mix for another color. Without further ado, let's start swatching. This pigment, Quinacridone Maroon, it goes under a variety of names. A very common one is brown madder. I will start as usual with my benchmark brand, Winsor and Newton. And you see it's an earthy brownish red. It's very beautiful color. You know that quinacridone colors are very transparent, are superior. They have a superior performance. They're very light fast. They don't granulate. Sometimes apparently they granulate, but when they're dry, I have never seen a granulation in my quinacridone colors. And this is the wonderful brown madder by Winsor and Newton. I'm so happy I bought this giant tube for now it's November, for a fall palette. This is going to be a staple. For me, this is really a great color. I'm so sad it has been discontinued. Then we have another Winsor and Newton color, and it is Alizarin Crimson Hue by Cotman. This tube has a couple of years, so I'm not sure that is still available as an Alizarin Crimson Hue, or if they have changed the formula. But if you are in a store, don't buy it online. If you're in a store and you can get hold of it, make sure it's PR206 and maybe you can buy it. I think it's one of the best Alizarin Crimson replacement, because you know that Alizarin Crimson is very fugitive, and this is the Cotman formula. Now, Cotman is the student grade brand of Winsor and Newton, but it's really fantastic as a student grade because it's a very light, fast. Basically, they use the same pigments that they use in artist range, just in a different concentration. But it's very nice brand. I started with Cotman, but now I don't use it any longer. But this Alizarin Crimson Hue is really nice. But you see, it's less pigmented than the brown madder. It's also a completely different hue. Then we have Daniel Smith Quinacridone Burnt Scarlet. Different name. Let's see if it is also different color. It's very burnt. I like very much Daniel Smith. Sometimes there are binder issues, but not in this case. I think that This PR206 is really a wonderful pigment. Look at this. So pigmented, it goes the whole way without recharging the brush. It's opposite to the Cotman. You immediately see the difference between an artist grade. It's really, really great. Look at how transparent it is, so vibrant. We should wait until it's dry, but this is very beautiful, and it's not so different from the brown matter Winsor and Newton, but let's wait until they dry. And then Horadam by Schminke, the artist grade by Schminke. Schminke is always very, very difficult to open. So this is Madder Brown by Schminke. Let's compare it right now. It's once again, it's very similar, I find. It's less burnt, maybe. It's more transparent. But my suggestion is, if you find a PR206, just get a hold of it, because it's such a beautiful pigment. So these artist brands roll very nice, so just get hold of it. Slightly maybe less pigmented than the Daniel Smith. Daniel Smith has some burnt accents that are really, really nice. But how lovely. It's more reddish, less brownish. And the Winsor and Newton is maybe more brick, but let's wait until they dry. Then we go to this very, very new brand, very performing. I think this is a brand that is going to give a hard time to the best brands, including M. that I think it is very much inspired to M. And this is called Quin Maroon. I have searched on internet, and I think that Quin, it's just a brand of quinacridone pigments, because you find it, I found this name in pigment suppliers for automotive, Quin. This is so pigmented. It's outrageous, really. It's so pigmented. I don't believe this. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is incredible. It's an explosion of color. I can't believe this. It's exciting. It's really an explosion of color. Great, great watercolor, M.Harding. Welcome to this world. Then I have, it's not a mistake, I have Quinacridone Burnt Orange by Core. Usually Quinacridone Burnt Orange has its own pigment, which is PO48. We will soon swatch them in a separate video. But Core use PR206. Now, this is very, very similar to M.Harding and the other ones. So it's a maroon, it's not an orange, but it's very beautiful. Now, Core is very famous for its dispersion on water, because they use Aquazole as a binder. Aquazole was originally used for restauro. I'm not sure how to say that in English. I will check while this dry. It's when you renovate an old painting. I'm sure you understand me. So it's a binder used by restauratori, so people that do this as a job to renovate old paintings. And it's a very nice brand. It's incredibly expensive in Europe, so I don't really have a collection of these. I only have some tubes. I must say that it's very pigmented in here, but as opposite to its reputation, it didn't move so much to the end of the page. But it's a lovely hue, they're all beautiful. And it's definitely a maroon, it's not an orange, but they call it Quinacridone burnt orange. Then in my collection I have one more core tube that uses PR206 together with PR122, which is Quinacridone magenta, and they call it Quinacridone crimson. Let's swatch it. So this should be more reddish pinkish. It absolutely is almost magenta. Very pigmented. Okay, I don't see why. I don't really perceive the presence of PR206 in this color. Maybe in the mass tone there is warmth that you lack in pure PR122. And then I have a Quinacridone Gold by Sennelier, which has PR206 in the formula, plus PR101, red iron oxide, and nickel azo yellow, PY150. And this is my beloved Sennelier. It's all you squeezed this tube because I think in the past this had some binder issue. I always keep some toothpicks available just in case there are some binder issues. I think it's fixed now. I will directly use this one. And this is this beautiful, gorgeous Quinacridone Gold hue by Sennelier. We will swatch all my Quinacridone Gold in a different in a separate video, but because they use PR206 in this formula, I thought I could swatch this in this video. It's a different formula from the one that other brands have. Usually Quinacridone Gold is PO48 plus nickel azo yellow, because the original Quinacridone Gold PO49 has been discontinued since quite a few years. I love Sennelier. It's so easy to apply. They use honey, and like all brands that use honey, it's really a pleasure to apply. Look, the mass tone. It's wonderfully warm. Now, just for completeness, you might wonder, how can I replace it with this is discontinued? So I like to swatch Perilene Maroon, but I have Perilene Maroon in my collection, my go-to studio palette, and this is also a very nice color, Perilene Maroon, very transparent. Perilene colors are really nice for next adventure, but you see it's completely different. It's a dark red, but it is completely different from our Quinacridone Maroon. But I'm sure they will find a solution just to see the difference. Now, while this color dry, you know that I like to make some mixes to see what kind of beautiful new colors we can get with this PR206. So let's go to our mixes. As usual, I'm mixing my colors with some watercolors from Paul Rubens. So it's good quality, not outstanding, it's just normal quality, to see what we can get. I will use my giant tube from Winsor and Newton for this experiment. And I will put a dot everywhere. And here I'm mixing with the PY35, which is cadmium yellow. You know that I like to mix on paper. So you get different ratio of color. You get more maroon on this side, on the left hand side, and more yellow on the right hand side. And you get this gorgeous, I'll steal something from here, this gorgeous orange. It's like a quinacridone gold, actually. Reminds me a lot. Then I will mix it with the yellow ochre. Oh, my cat. Can you hear him? Okay. Some yellow ochre. I'm not pre-wetting the paper this time to see what it... No, don't cry, gattino. Non piangere. I hope we can get a nice flesh tone this time. Very lovely. I think this is going to be a nice flesh tone. Phthalo blue. This is really lovely phthalo blue. Let's see if we get a purple. We get a grey here. Lovely one. And with ultramarine, I do hope we get a purple. Now our last mix with a green. I have taken emerald green, so it's a single pigment green, PG7, phthalo green, wow, it mutes the green down, that's really nice. So you go from a brown to a muted green. We let this dry and then we'll be back, but it's very interesting, very interesting combination of colors. Now my PR206 different colors are dry. The most pigmented, there are two easy winners. The most pigmented are Daniel Smith and M.Harding. M.Harding is probably the winner in terms of pigmentation, but I also like the more delicate hue of Schminke and Winsor and Newton. They're so reliable, these two brands, and predictable, which is something that I like, that they have such a constant quality. And very seldom I got binders issues or quality issues. The Cotman, although it's the same pigment PR206, doesn't have much to do in this family. Same with the Quinacridone Crimson with the magenta. Doesn't have much to do here. But I think that if you can go to art store, so that you can make sure that when you buy Madder Brown you receive the one with PR206 on the label, because I'm sure they going through a change and you might get something different if you buy it online. So if you're sure that your tube has PR206 on the label, then absolutely buy it, because such a beautiful color. I think that Quinacridone family is outstanding, but this is probably the king of all the Quinacridone colors, maybe because it's being discontinued, that makes it more precious. And I will encourage you to get hold of this color before it disappears. They're all very beautiful. Really, it doesn't matter which one you buy. I'm slightly disappointed, I must say, by Core, the Quinacridone Burnt Orange, because despite the Aquazole thing that should favor dispersion on paper, this is moving less than the other ones, but still a beautiful color. Just a matter of getting used to the behavior of a brand. And the Per206 Maroon is not a good replacement, nothing to do with it. It's a beautiful color, but not a replacement for this Quinacridone Maroon. Let's have a look at the mixes now that they are dry. I have encouraged them to dry with a heating tool because I was afraid that the light might change, so from some cauliflowers and some hard edges, but we can still see the difference in these beautiful colors. I really like the one with the yellow ochre. This is going to be a wonderful flesh tone. Glorious luscious orange with the cadmium yellow. An interesting grey. Here, look at what a nice grey you have with the phthalo blue. The purple didn't come out as I wanted, but maybe you should mix it on the palette and not on paper, but I will try again probably. And PR206, the green, I think is one of the best results with this color, because it tones down phthalo green and you also get interesting browns. It's really lovely for natural muted landscapes. So apparently restauro is restoration or renovation in English. So I hope you could understand what I meant with the Aquazole binder being originally invented for restoration of old paintings. I hope you share the enthusiasm I have for this pigment, and I think that would be a good idea to grab a huge tube. Maybe the Winsor and Newton has a good price point, because these 37 milliliters. It's really a good price point, and it's gonna last a lifetime, or maybe two, so you can leave it to your grandchildren and children. I hope you liked the video, and I hope it was of some help. If you think so, don't hesitate to give me a thumb up. And if you want to see my next videos and don't miss them, you can always subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. Many followers have got in touch with me expressing their concern about this pigment being discontinued along with PO48. So I would really love to know if you have PR206, which brand do you have, which one do you like better, and which one you prefer of the swatches I have made today. I really love interactions with the followers, something that I never miss, the opportunity to chat with a follower. So for the moment being, that's all, and ciao from Elisabetta in Italy. And ciao.